name is Brendan, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Welcome, Kal-El. How are you today?
Who? Oh, me. I forgot. My favorite superhero. Here we go, guys. Ready, Brett? I'm ready.
Absolutely. Oh, now we're going to have Batman versus Superman.
That's right.
And
Bald Man
Batman
versus
got the
Superman.
crap beat out of him.
He did. I would be Bald Man versus Superman, I think.
There you go. Bald man, beard man.
All right, buddy. What is our intro now that I've already messed us up?
Well, I am Brett Gordon. This is Brandon Croucher of Delight Cafe. Together, we have kind of created this one square at a time, which is using the reference of a chessboard and a king being able to move in any one direction at a time. And what we're trying to do through our review of movies and superheroes is to bring out superpowers that we all have that we can use in life to move one square at a time, which might be front, might be side, and might be backwards. It all depends on the situation. All we're trying to do is really offer opportunities to bring new tools into your toolkit of life and leadership, which will lead to the legacy that you would like to have. So
there we go.
Today is kind of just the follow-up to the recorded version of the Superman superhero tool. Not tool. That's you. I mean, that's me, the tool. But hello, Lena. Nice to see you again. Fernando, awesome. Jess, glad to see you out there. It's been so long since we've talked. It's amazing that you're able to tune in. So really looking forward to this. I don't know if everybody's had an opportunity to watch the recorded video. But it kind of talked about all three or versions of Superman that we reviewed, from Christopher Reeves to George Reeve, which is the kind of the original, and then to the most recent with Henry Cavill. I'm not even sure how I pronounce his name. If he would tune in, then we could find out for sure.
That's how we get him, with that tone of voice. If he would just tune in!
Yeah. Henry, where are you?
Oh, that's funny. All right, so with this, the superhero we found is we combined all three movies. And what's interesting about it is how you took Howie Cavell. Christopher Reeves was the best. Jessica is calling that out. Here's my thing. When you combine all three, Brett did a phenomenal job, because I'm not going to be able to tell you who the third one was. I knew those two, and that was it. With Brett, tell us a little bit about why the three of them played a significant role, because he, as Superman, is someone that came and he wasn't even from Earth. And
Right.
he had to develop something no matter what. That's Superman, no matter which guy played it.
Yeah, well, actually, that kind of ties into a different aspect of life that we didn't even talk about, and that is, where did we come from before we came to Earth?
Mars.
Could be. We might have come from Krypton.
Is it women
Can't
are from
tell.
Venus, men are from Mars?
Yes.
Okay, so I was right. Okay, I'm from Mars.
Or it was men are from penis and women are from Mars. I'm not sure.
You're a penis. All right, cool. So are we? If we're from Krypton and we come on and he's from Krypton, he comes here, and that might be where we're from. How do you get to being a tool?
Well, we watch the Superman movies, and he's faster than the speeding bullet. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound. He's more powerful than a locomotive, which are all things that we know, at least in this life form, that we don't do. We can't do those. But there are things within the personality of Superman and the human character that Superman has of being Clark Kent. And those are the things that we really brought out in terms of the superpowers that we can use in our life, we can learn from, that are tools that we can have in our tool belt in order to be able to overcome the challenges that sometimes seem like the tall buildings and require the strength of a locomotive, or enable us to move at the speed of a bullet in order to be able to deal with the things that are happening in life. And as with everything around the One Square at a Time, it's about just providing us, looking at ourselves as well as our audience, to be able to help bring tools to life that they can use. And remember that, when I talk about leadership in life, I'm talking about me, myself, and I first, and then how you lead your family, how you lead in groups of friends, how you lead in your business. And, through your life and your leadership, you're actually establishing that legacy, that thing that lives on beyond our physical life. And so with Superman, I don't even know if we see him ever age. So his legacy lives on forever in his form as Superman. And I don't think that we've ever seen Clark Kent age either.
True.
So he's got a long time to build a legacy, and he has, actually, through the comics and everything else that we have. But what we were really talking about is how, the emotions, which, although he's not, oops, here we go, Spock, live long and
I
prosper.
can't even do it.
Yeah, I know. I used to do this as a kid. Okay, I got to hold my fingers like this until I can get them. But, he's not a Vulcan and not supposed to have and be void of emotions in his form as Kal-El from Krypton. And the Kryptonians, they had emotions. There was nothing that was an indication that they didn't have emotions. But when Kal-El came to Earth, his father basically told him that you can't use your powers in certain ways because you would interfere with the human race, humanity. And even we find out that through his superpowers, he was able to roll back time. As we mentioned in the first, in the recorded version, he got upset. And this is kind of his being upset because Lois Lane died. And he's like, I'm not going to let Lois Lane die, because he was in love with her. And then he had also, experienced letting his earthly father die previously. So he got frustrated and he spun around the earth, flew around the earth and turned the earth spinning backwards and brought time back and then saved Lois from that death that she experienced. Now, he did that because he let his emotions take over. And that happens to us in life all the time. We don't have 100% control, if you would say, over our emotions. Sometimes things just happen and we react, and after we react, we're like, oh crap, I probably shouldn't have done that, or I could have done that better, or there was other things that we could have done, but at the spur of the moment, at the time that the intensity was there, our emotions came through in our actions and our words, and sometimes we regret them, and other times they were phenomenal. I mean, we actually do have a superpower in that if you've ever heard of instances where a child was pinned under a car and the mother or the father was able to physically lift that car, they were able to do so because the adrenaline got flowing and they just did it. It was like they broke through that mental aspect of us saying, there's no way that we can lift a car. And the body actually generated the chemicals, the hormones to enable us to have that superhuman strength because of our emotions. We don't normally have access to that aspect of what is our bodily capabilities because we don't have that level of intensity most of the time in our life, even when our emotions kind of go crazy. But I think that, we talked about how those emotions came into play and how in this character it was really more toward the good, if you want to call it that, because he saved Lois Lane. But then over here, when this Superman was exposed to kryptonite, it not only drained, it didn't kind of drain him necessarily of his superpower, but it turned his superpower from the good or the light side to the bad, to the dark side. And then he started to use his superpowers to destroy, to do things that Superman wasn't supposed to do or wouldn't do if the kryptonite wasn't around, if his emotions hadn't changed. Right. When he came back to life, remember they in the Justice League, they actually brought Superman back to life.
Yes.
And when he came back to life, I never
understand comic books. How do you die and come back? And I don't understand it. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think that there's also that thing that we, depending on your beliefs, we can die and come back to life, reincarnation.
Yes.
And if you don't believe in reincarnation, when we pass on from our physical form, the legacy that we left is still alive through those that we touched in our life and that they touched with what we taught them in their life. So actually your legacy can go on and on and on infinitely because of the way that you were able to react and teach, or sometimes it's not so much positive. Sometimes there's negatives that people leave behind in their legacy. And it's our choice which way we want to go. It's just that sometimes we say that it was because of something else that we did something, when in fact, yes, that event occurred. These events occurred, but it was Superman's choice kind of to do what he did. You might question whether, the kryptonite took that ability of him away. And even in life, we have certain things where, we may have a traumatic brain injury or something, which could potentially take away our ability to assess things the way that we would have before that brain trauma. So what we chose as the tool was a magnet. And the reason we chose the magnet is because the magnet has a positive side and a negative side, just like we have a positive choice oftentimes. I mean, we always have a choice. And one is more positive than the other from our perspective. And when others look at it, they may not have the same perspective and think that, you know, what we chose is kind of the right decision, may not be what they would consider to be the right decision or action. But we have to recognize that, you know, we all have positive and negatives. We all have the light side and the dark side. We have to constantly have that devil and that angel on our shoulder and make that choice as to which direction we're going to go. And when emotions come into play, sometimes we don't take the time and recognize our control to be able to choose which direction we're going to go. And sometimes we just respond. And in today's world, one of the things that's even more challenging, I think, is that we label things now. And then because we label them, we can justify our actions. Road rage. Road rage now is what people use as an excuse for pulling a gun on somebody that cut them off on the road. That's horseshit. It's not an excuse. And just because the psychologists have now labeled it road rage, what it is just getting out of control and allowing your emotion at the time to have you react in a particular way. And different people will respond in a different way, and you as an individual will too. There may be a time that somebody cut you off and you're with somebody else and you're talking, you're like, oh, son of a, and then you just are like, okay, well, that happened. But at a different time, if you've got a heightened sensitivity, maybe you're already in kind of a negative mindset and somebody cuts you off, then your reaction is completely different. So it's your emotions, it's the timing, it's what's happening at the time when an event occurs that all make the difference as to how strongly you're on either the positive side of that choice, the negative side of that choice, or anywhere in the spectrum of the magnetic field that goes from the positive to the negative side. Because whether it be a battery like, you know, you put in your cameras like a D cell or a, you know, C cell battery, or it's as we used the kind of the disc battery to show that difference. We have a whole spectrum of ways that we can respond to events that occur in our life based on our past experiences, our current situation, our current emotions. And those are the things that we need to take charge of and we need to take responsibility for.
I agree.
So I think that's kind of a quick synopsis, and wanted to see if there was anybody in the audience that wanted to ask a question, had any kind of, you know, even if you didn't see our recorded version, anything that you picked out of a Superman movie that you thought was, you know, a superpower or a way that, you know, the characters may have acted or reacted that you'd like us to talk about. If you do, you know, throw it into the comment section. If you actually want to come on and talk to us about it, we can do that as well. Just let us know in the comment section and we'll work with you in either way. Up to that point, we'll kind of go on with our conversation and recognize that, you know, wanted to say hi to CK out there and Brian. Glad you're able to join. You're my superhero. Anybody who can drive a truck across the country and stay out of harm's way and maintain a peaceful aura about them when you're in the traffic, which, man, I'll tell you, I have so much respect for truck drivers when they go into big cities and they have to navigate the traffic and all the goofballs that are out on the road that don't think that a tractor trailer that's pulling a 40 or 53-foot trailer, they think that they can just cut in front of them and that truck is going to be able to avoid them. I mean, you got to be a special person to be a good truck driver.
Brian has amazing patience, and to be a truck driver in any facet is like being a Superman, because they're driving something that can plow through anything, and you don't need someone behind a wheel that's going to have a quick reaction. So being able to be Brian, he gets to be out there and pick which Superman he really is, because like you said, the magnetic poles. Ooh, watch me connect this. So it's like you said, the magnetic poles, right? Somebody cuts him off. It gives him the choice to go nuclear or to go grounded. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to say something south, but I didn't have anything. But because of that, he has his choice of which emotion he can go towards. And being a truck driver, he sees so many people cut him off. I'm sure that it like just flows through him now. But at the same point, he has those moments where maybe they don't cut him off, but they don't give him enough space, or he doesn't see them in the windows and that. It's like Clark Kent to Superman. He has to choose in a split second what he's going to do. And with that bad reaction, you can have a magnetic switch where you're doing something good, like driving and not getting mad, and then somebody cuts you off and your whole load starts to twist. What happens? You're going to lose your shit, man. And at that point, you're having that magnetic switch and you're switching what's going on, and you got to be able to flip it in your brain to make it where you're not going nuclear.
Yeah. And, you know, Superman had the ability to have X-ray vision, right? He could see through walls. He could then anticipate what was happening and so forth beyond what the normal human is. Well, when we're in life, just like as Brian as a truck driver, he's got to anticipate what's happening around him. He's got to look in his rear view mirror. He's got to look in front of him. He's got to look at the sides and what's happening. He's got to recognize that I've got, you know, my 53-foot trailer and another 30 feet of cab. So I've got 80 feet of vehicle that I have to navigate on and off and in between cars. So I have no choice but to really anticipate where that gap is going to be that I can start to fill in. I've got to be able to give people my turn signal to let them know that I need to get over there in time. And hopefully they're not going to try to come up alongside me when this is happening. But it's kind of like our version of X-ray vision. We do have an ability to anticipate what is happening in life. We do have an ability to anticipate a highly emotionally charged situation. When I go into a bar, I've got this thing where, first of all, I don't like to have, if I'm sitting in a bar, I want to usually have my back against a wall. Why? Because then I don't have to pay attention to what's behind me. I can pay attention to just what's in front of me and to the sides. And when I'm watching things, especially in a bar where people are drinking, you don't know what their responses are to the people around them. You can watch boyfriends and girlfriends starting to get angry at each other. You can see guys picking up or saying something to someone's girlfriend or boyfriend, and they're ready to, you know, jump on them. You can see these things starting to happen, and then you can move in a direction that's going to take you out of harm's way, or possibly see an opportunity to maybe calm the situation down. So it's a matter of, you know, using our peripheral vision, using our X-ray vision, if you want to call it, by watching people, by looking at their faces, by looking at their eyes, by looking at their responses. Are they tightening up their muscles? Are they relaxing? All of those things are almost like our X-ray vision. And we have that same thing at home. When you come home and say you've got a family, and you come home and you walk in the door and you see your spouse's hair is all kind of flustered, and you're like, uh-oh, something weird might have happened today in the family, and I need to approach this with maybe a little bit more TLC, even though, and I have to recognize where I'm at, because I might have had a shitty day at work. So if they got this flustered hair, they probably had some challenges at home or around the home life. I just came home from having an intense, stressful, crappy day at work. If we just collide because I didn't anticipate what I think I saw and also control where I'm coming from, this whole thing can blow up, right? You can go nuclear, like you were saying.
Yep.
Or if one person is kind of in that I'm almost ready to ignite nuclear state, and you recognize where you are and you could go there, but you say, okay, I'm going grounded because I need to bring this balance back. I need to get in between the North and the South Pole. I need to kind of get an understanding of what they have been experiencing, try to meet them there, and then bring them up, bring them to a more positive state. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of ways that we can use our X-ray vision to work with that tool as a magnet that we have, that positivity, negativity, and that full spectrum of the electromagnetic field around it. So I think that that's really pretty cool that we do have that ability. Just oftentimes we don't consciously recognize it. A lot of times we unconsciously see it. We unconsciously feel it, but we logically sometimes turn that off, or we put our emotional state in front of it. And what our perception is and what is really happening may be different, because we're bringing our emotional state into what we think we see. So that flustered hair may have been, oh, you came home a little bit early. I was actually just trying to fix my hair so I looked really nice for you when you came in the door. But if you had a crappy day, you may then, again, you're looking at it and saying, oh my gosh, if her hair's all flustered or his hair's all flustered, and, if Brandon's hair is all flustered, we know that the world has got something going on. Those are the types of things that, we have to look at inside our X-ray vision into us as we're using our X-ray vision to evaluate the situation that we're walking into. Right. So that's another way that we can really talk about the superpower of the magnet, the positivity, negativity, the ability to go nuclear, go grounded, the ability to work within that whole spectrum and to be able to leverage our tools, which are similar to what Superman has. And even if you look at this one, his eyes are like ready to burn through you. Have you ever been in a situation, Brandon, where you were talking to somebody and they were just like burning a hole in you with their eyes because they were pissed off about something? And it's like the same as what Superman's doing there.
You didn't hear me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What did you say?
You've never met my mom. Man, does she know how to give a stare.
Exactly. And a lot of times that's where we actually learn how to respond to something. We grew up with our parents. Our parents have certain ways of communicating with us that may have been verbal, but are more often than not physical in terms of the way that their body was, the way that their eyes are, the way that their mouth was before they said something. And those things trigger us when we're an adult. And those physical things that we experienced from our parents as a kid may not be lead to the same result that we experience from somebody else. So we misinterpret where they're coming from based on our past experiences. So, it's like being human is not the easiest thing in the world. and interact. I mean, just dealing with ourselves is not the easiest thing in the world. When we have to bring in others around us, it becomes even more challenging.
Especially when you bring others in and you're starting to figure out just everything you're doing. You're figuring out your boundaries. Think about kids in college. Like, when you turn 18, you're said to go out and start learning, and you don't know you don't know what your future holds. You're still deciding who you are, and then you're told to go to college, and then you're offered a credit card and all this other stuff. Before you know it, you're so far in debt, and you didn't even know you did anything yet. You know what I mean? But that's the generation that's coming up, and when you look at that and you look at what responsibilities we have to others, you have to be able to keep that balance and know that while we might have more debt in certain generations, we're going to have futures. We have to figure out how we're going to adapt to it and make the big changes in our life. What are you laughing at?
I'm just looking at some of the comments here about, the breakthrough shows saying the ability to go nuclear is the name of my new metal band.
That's funny. Yes, Jessica has finally come to the dark side.
Right.
Jessica, I hate to break it to you, but you're not hiding in the corner. You're a bright light, and you go through the dark side. The problem is you're such a bright light. Everybody just thinks you're like the fire.
Well, kind of along with this positive, negative, light and dark, if you want to take it to the universal side, black holes, they absorb, they basically bring, suck everything in. If you get within a certain radius of them, you're going to just get sucked into the black hole. But the black hole then connects to a white hole. And the white hole is where this energy comes out. It's emitted. It goes like black hole, wormhole, white hole. And it comes out on the light side or the bright side. So matter is absorbed and then matter is emitted, or energy really is absorbed and energy is emitted. And that energy is really energy around us. Everything we've said in the past, everything in life, everything in the universe is energy, just energy in a different state, in a different frequency. So recognizing that, again, is bringing the power that we have, the energy that we have, the frequencies that we have into our daily life. And the one thing that really starts to ground us, as you were talking about, is if we come at life from more of, and the bottom pictures here, which is the love. The love is what brought the intensity that the dark side kind of brings it back to the light side.
I agree. Yeah.
And as guys, oftentimes when you start talking about love, it's like, oh man, that's that floofy stuff, and that doesn't, I'm not this love kind of God. I'm all about the strength, and that's how I deal with things. But it really is love of self being probably the most difficult aspect for a lot of people. And when we don't have love of self, and I tell you right now, everybody does have love of self. It's just that we oftentimes focus on those other aspects of ourselves that take our focus in a different direction. There are many, many things that we can find when we talk about love of ourselves, the things that we've accomplished, the things that we've overcome, the everyday things of going back to like soul, that leaf that fell off of the tree, and saying, wow, that was really cool. And the fact that leaf might have fallen around you might have attracted that. So there is this love that we can find of ourselves. And those are the things that we need to focus on. And oftentimes, a technique that we can have that's going to help us to ground ourselves in that love of self is to go and write out things that we can appreciate about life, things that we can appreciate about what we've done, recognizing that, you know what, it can be as simple as, okay, this may be a little weird, but okay, I got up in the morning, I had to take a pee, I actually aimed and got it in the toilet. Hey, all right, that's fantastic. I'm going to celebrate my life because I didn't have to go clean it up off the floor. That's something to just be proud of that. And if you take those types of things and you recognize and be proud of it and recognize them as accomplishments, then you can build this big list of things that you actually do every day that are successful. And oftentimes we don't love ourselves because we don't feel that we're successful. We don't feel like we've accomplished things. There are literally millions of things that we do in a daily basis that we've accomplished, that we actually wanted to accomplish.
I was talking to Gavin. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, so we overlook those little accomplishments in life, and we're always focused on like the big thing, or the big thing that we feel that we didn't accomplish the way that we wanted to, as opposed to, when we didn't accomplish something, I bet you there were a lot of things we actually did right along the way, but the outcome wasn't what we expected.
Right. I agree.
So we need to really document those things and put together our list of gratitude of self, of love of self. And every morning.
How do you start that? How do you start that?
How do you start that?
Yeah.
You have a pen and a paper.
Okay. And what do I do?
Write it down. But what I would do, because oftentimes our state of mind may not be where we need it when we're doing this, is to put on something that makes us feel good, whether that be clothes, whether that be music, whether that be the Big Bang Theory on TV, whether that be the pictures of mom, whether there's an exercise that I take people through oftentimes in order to create that safe space, that place in life where if I want to have serenity, what would that picture look like? Would it be when I'm in a canoe out on a mirror-like lake surrounded by trees, and you see a deer swimming alongside your canoe, and you just look at the peace that is? You bring yourself into that safe space, that beautiful place. And that's when you start writing these things down, because that's when these things start to come out and you can recognize them. You can even document, hey, this glassy lake in the beginning of the morning with what looks like the steam or the fog coming off of the lake, when it's kind of warmer air and cooler water. And you just see this picture of serenity. And when you bring yourself into that space, that's when you really want to write down these things, because it's going to generate the type of energy. It's going to be in that place of groundedness, of love. It could be the picture of your baby when the baby was born, or the smile on the baby's face when the baby first was able to take its first couple of steps. Or it could be that look on your spouse's face when you know that they really love you and what you are doing for them. There are many different aspects of life that we can tap into, and each one, everybody's got their own different version. So find and create in your mind that safe space, that place, the smells that it is. Okay, so going back to my analogy, you're out on this canoe, it's quiet, and you've got this fog on the lake, and then you smell the pine trees, and then you hear the birds in the background, and you feel that moisture in the air in the morning, kind of like, the dew. And you just keep adding to those things that you observe, because what that does is that brings that picture. It makes that picture, 1080p or 4K. It really brings it into focus. And when you bring that focus in, that's when you want to anchor it in. And you can actually anchor that picture in, or that safe place in, through then, say touching your elbow with your finger. And when you get to that level of intensity of, really being able to be in that zone, that's when you tap your elbow and you test it. You do it a few times. And then when you get into a situation where you're about to explode, if you tap your elbow that same way, it's going to be almost like you turn the lights, the dimmer switch down, because it kind of brings that back in through, basically self-hypnosis. So that's when you put that list of things to appreciate about yourself, what we love about ourselves. And that's the part that's going to help to bring us grounded when emotions get high and you're about to respond, you're about to react as opposed to respond. I always kind of bring a difference there. Reaction to me is something that you basically don't think about. It kind of comes out. But if you take even a fraction of a second and think about it and get things into perspective, you can respond in a way where you are actually consciously choosing what you're going to do. So,
sorry, Brian Tracy's comment caught me off guard. I saw it, laughed, and totally you caught everybody off guard with hitting the toilet. But I think that everybody's going to remember, especially their husbands or their kids, when they hit the toilet now, they're like, all right, I need to be proud of them for this moment. There's no pee all over the seat. Brian Tracy's comment made me laugh kind of hard. I was trying to hold back as long as I could. Aiming for the toilet is my new life motto. That made me crack up. CK Ford got in there with it. Being fully present and grateful is key to manifestation and feeling love. I think that's a great answer for that. Jessica Dugas says, and we got to give all this time. The likelihood that we will do anything once and our life is changed is slim. We have to keep showing up. Choose it. I think that's phenomenally said. So Brett, we mentioned how the tool for this one, for everybody to carry their leadership tool around with them, you and I talked about the mirroring and how a mirror can be used and both sides of it to keep yourself balanced. With that, how would you recommend people be able to take the mirror with them and see when they're the positive to negative, when they need to look in the mirror?
Okay, so are we bringing in mirror as a second tool, or are we?
No, didn't we say mirror was the regular tool?
Magnet.
Oh shit, that's right. I literally wrote down mirror on my notes as that's what we said our tool that we agreed the tool was. And I'm sitting here the whole time talking about magnets, but I'm picturing both sides of a mirror, how you have to look in the mirror. Wow. Brandon's mind has been abused lately. Oh, that's funny. All right. So magnets, when do people need to know when to use the magnet?
We always.
Oh, Bridget Kistler does it. Sorry, she beat us. I love that. You attract what you are,
light and dark. Exactly. Whether we recognize it or not, we emit energy. We emit the energy, the state of our mind at the time. If we are walking around in negativity, we're going to recognize negativity. We're going to think the world around us is negative. We're going to perceive the world around us as negative. If we walk around with positivity, we're going to focus on positivity. There's actually, in the amygdala, which is part of your brain, there's a thing called what they call the reticular activating system. When that is what your focus goes to. So again, we use this analogy in another episode, but when you think that nobody's ever bought a car like the one that you're looking at buying, it's like, wow, this is so unique. I'm going to buy this car. I haven't seen it out on the road. I'm going to be like really cool because nobody else has it. You buy the car and then you're driving down the road and you're like, oh shit, there's one there. There's one there. There's one there. That's the reticular activating system. And the same thing works with positivity and negativity in ourselves. So if we're in a negative state, our mind is going to focus on the negative things that are happening around us. At that same moment, that event that we actually perceived as negative may actually have been perceived as positive if we would have been in the light. Hey, Wendy, nice to see you out there. So Wendy's actually a light in my life in that she helps to take care of my mom and dad. She's my brother's girlfriend. Oh. She lives in the house, and she is been amazing in helping my parents, who sometimes my mom is a little bit challenging because she tends to focus on the dark side of things. She tends to live in a more not good enough state as opposed to I'm good enough state. And what that does is it kind of generates that type of energy around, and you have to have absolutely, you have to generate more positive energy in order to be in that environment, because you have to actually balance the negative energy of people that may be in that environment as well. So
I like how you're phrasing that.
You know, we all, every day, everything we do has a positive, negative. Everything we do is our choice as to which direction we're going to go. And if we can constantly bring that positivity, then we're going to help to bring balance to those that have the negativity. But remember, we do need to recharge our batteries.
Correct.
And, you know, even a magnet can lose its strength over time. So we do need to take that time to ourselves. We do need to look at that list of gratitude. We do need to look at why we love ourselves in order to reground. And then from a physical aspect of regrounding, there's things that you can do as well. Just like, you know, when you have the 3-prong electric plug, that third prong is a grounding plug. It grounds the electricity so you don't get a shock, so that you don't, you know, we can do that actually physically with our body. Take your shoes and socks off and go stand in the grass, or put your feet in the water of a pool or of the lake, or and physically rebalance your energy with that of Mother Earth. When you do that, you are really grounding yourself physically and emotionally. You're grounding yourself. You're starting to bring your frequencies back in balance with the natural frequencies of Mother Earth, which, when you think about it, we did actually arise from Mother Earth.
So is that why I love camping?
Well, camping has a couple of those different things. If you love camping, that means that you have some real positive remembrances, things that it brings out when you're out in the camping, whether it be in the woods or you're at the campfire, you're cooking s'mores or hot dogs or whatever it is. There's some, when you love something, there are many things there that trigger happiness or trigger good, positive thoughts. And again, in life, we all have those. It's just sometimes we forget about them. We forget that, you know, you only go camping for 1 week a year. There's 51 weeks that you're not camping. And then you forget about that time that you were camping and what it feels like. And if you go back to that and you do that exercise that I was saying and bring your back into the smell of the campfire or the marshmallows cooking or whatever it is, and you build that back up in you, you bring that 1 week that you were loving life out camping, into your life today while you're sitting at your desk at work.
Is that, go ahead.
No, so that's how you can, these are all techniques that you can use to reground yourself, recharge your batteries, rebalance your frequencies with the natural frequencies of Earth. And remember, when we're sitting in a building, even in our house, just like now, I'm sitting here looking in front of two computer monitors with a camera in front of me. I've got electrical things all around me. Those are not natural frequencies and energies that we are surrounded by. They're not balanced with Mother Earth. So we do need to actually ground ourselves. Now, there are also tools out there, other tools, things that you can buy. There's grounding blankets, grounding sheets. There's grounding bracelets, which literally you plug into that third prong in the electric socket. Now, hopefully, first test the electric socket, make sure the electrician did the right thing when they did that. But you can plug that in and it actually grounds you. And it's maybe not the best way to get grounded. The best way would be to go lay on the grass outside in your house or in the sand or whatever. But you can do these things. And there's tools out there to help you to balance your frequencies with that of Mother Earth around us. And that's going to bring about a mindset to be able to look at those more positive things and to recharge that positivity so that we can go back out into the world and bring that aura with us and to bring that focus with us, which is really the key. Because if we, like I said, if you go out there with a positive aspect, you're going to pick up on the positive things. If you go out there with the negative, you're going to find all the negative things. And those are the things that we need to constantly remember, because sometimes we just get caught up in life, and that's natural. I mean, Superman got caught up in life, and then the emotions come through, and that's when the dark side comes through, and all of those types of things are when we get caught up in life and we haven't taken the opportunity to try to reground ourselves and bring that positivity and love back into the forefront of our mind. And then all of a sudden things look brighter because that's what we're focusing on.
Very well said, Brett. Very well said. So how are you going to take us out today? This has been a you episode. Superman really was special for you. My only thing I had a true answer on was all the way back at the beginning when I was like playing and asking my own questions. Where is Superman from?
Where was the Superman comic created? Wasn't that in Metropolis or something like that? Is that what you're going? I don't know if that's the answer that they're looking for. So, I think that's where Clark Kent was the newspaper cameraman.
Oh, that's the name of the city. Yeah. No, that's the name of the city. I'm saying, where was he? So Superman started as a comic book. Where did that comic book originate?
In the mind of a man.
Well, touche. High five on that one. You nailed that answer. Cleveland, Ohio, just outside of downtown.
Really?
Yes, sir. I actually, I know exactly which house it is. We could drive to it if you came to visit.
Wow. So the B from the CLE is right there by Superman.
So I have a full sleeve Ninja Turtle tattoo that matches Cleveland. And on my chest, one day Splinter is going to be there, and Splinter's going to have a Superman shirt on.
Ah, cool.
It connects all of Cleveland and all that, yeah.
And even though we see what we think is an S on his chest, that is not S for Superman. That is actually a Kryptonian symbol and has meaning and power beyond what the S is. But it's good enough for us to think about it as the S of Superman because we can relate more to that. In our
mere human brains can only understand so much.
Exactly. And we oftentimes are overwhelmed in life. And that's why we have our belief systems and our filters. And we'll talk about those in other episodes because those dramatically impact everything in our life as well. But today, staying focused on kind of the magnet, the positive, the negativity, how to reground, how to recharge your battery, how to recharge the polarity of that magnet, how to focus ourselves on the positive side as opposed to the negative side. And remember, you know, when positives and positives get together, sometimes that doesn't work so good. In fact, they tend to repel. And when negatives and negatives get together, they tend to repel. But a positive and negative tend to snap together and balance.
All I know is,
go ahead.
All I know is 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts do.
And 2 rights make an airplane.
So, well played. You got me on that one. I've never heard that.
So I think that, you know, really bringing out the fact that even our superheroes have emotions, and even Spock has emotions because he's got that human side. And if you actually watch some of the Star Trek where Spock's father is talking to him as a child, he says that Vulcans actually do have emotions that often run deeper than a human emotion, which that's not what you normally think. So watch our emotions, remember the positive and negative, write down those things, appreciate and love about ourselves. And read those things every day when you wake up. And when you get into a negative mindset, go back and read those things and continue to add to them. When you do that, you're going to reground yourself. You're going to take yourself out of the dark and bring yourself back into the light. And I'm going to also tell you that there's going to be a resistance that you have, because oftentimes we want to play in the dark.
Do you think maybe that's what that pullback is?
Say again?
Maybe that's the pullback. That's the magnetic force pulling you back. You need to be grounded before you can excel. And that's what's pulling you back, is the magnetic field pulling you back.
Yeah,
you know, your own magnetic field.
Yeah, I mean, we're surrounded by magnetic fields. The Earth is has a magnetic field. North Pole, South Pole, magnetic field. The magnetic field actually protects the Earth from the rays of the sun and all that kind of stuff. So it's all around us, but we have a choice actually of which side we're going to focus on and which side we're going to bring into our life at this very moment or during this day. But I will say, you know, you can get comfortable living in the dark side. And oftentimes that's when people become depressed, because I would rather know that how I'm going to feel when I'm depressed and on the dark side than to try to step out of that and into the light and not know what that may bring. You know, it's kind of like staying in your room all day and saying that you're protecting yourself and being depressed in your room, as opposed to stepping out your front door into the sunlight and not knowing exactly what's going to come on and happen around you, because you don't have that same level of control when you're out in the open. But we need to be out in the open. We need to step into the sunlight in order to really shine ourselves and to really bring the light back into our life.
Very well said. Very well said. Do you have any other last words for everybody? Because Jessica Dugas is already starting her stand-up career over here. In New England, we know him as Superman.
Yeah, Superman.
Boom. Superman. Like New England super. I still like fuck Joeyos.
Yeah, fuck Jorios. Like Jor-El.
Oh, that was funny.
Right?
Yeah. So, this was a good one, buddy. We had the Superman one. Everybody could go back. We'll put the link in here. Actually, while you say the goodbyes, I'll get the link together for everybody so they can go check out the actual video you made. We made about him and Superman and all of the in-depth details of how we came up with the solutions we did.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who's tuned in, and for everybody making their comments and and continue to tune in if you'd like, and bring in more comments, because I love to be able to hear your perspective, or the challenges, or the questions, and so forth, and we can continue to grow our knowledge, our connection, our foundation. I mean, the whole reason for using movies like this is so that Brandon and I can establish kind of a common foundation with each other through the movie, and also with the audience. And then from there is where we can launch into all of these different things that affect us in life, and our ability to lead, me, myself, and I, and to build ability to help and lead others around us, and to bring more positivity and joy to life than we may otherwise have, or acknowledge anyhow. I think that it's always there. We just need to acknowledge it and find it and focus on it, as opposed to the other things. And the more you focus on, the more you're going to find in that direction. So I think that, Superman is a great example of something that we commonly see or remember and have our own image of. But there's many things behind Superman. There's many things behind superheroes. There's many things behind movies. And there's many things behind life and ourselves that we can choose to focus on and are there. But oftentimes we need to think about them, and we need to write them down. And when we do, they're at our fingertips anytime that we need them. So that's what I'd like to leave everybody with. Remain grounded and take that opportunity to do so. Brandon,
I'm reading it with her doing a Boston accent. Oh, here in New England, we got the Brandon Kacha over here. You need a quarter over there? You got some water? Hey, how much that water cost? We got it's a quarter? Oh, man, I can't afford that.
Yeah, we're going to go to the patty in order to potty tonight. And when you potty, make sure you get it in the toilet, right?
Yeah, and I'm not touching your potty stuff anymore. Here is our video from when we first recorded it. If you can guess how long my beard is in that video, you will win an amazing prize of a kiss and a foot rub from Brett Gordon. So send in your comments and guess how big my beard was, because I have to be honest, guys, I tuned into it and I clicked on it earlier. And I'm like, whoa, my beard is dude, I can't imagine how I shaved that. Did you notice how much bigger it was?
Oh, man, yeah. And when you rubbed it, it got even bigger.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is One Square at a Time, a leadership perspective
on life and leadership and building your legacy.
From the King's perspective of building your team with the right tools, one square at a time.
There you go.
We're going to record that very soon and make sure it sounds much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you. Next Monday, we're going to introduce another movie. We're going to drop the recording next Monday, and be prepared to.
Which one are we doing?
I don't know yet.
Which one are we doing?
I don't know.
I thought we were doing Despicable Me.
No, we got to record that one tomorrow.
Oh, I like that one. I already watched.
Well, if we want to drop it, we can drop it on Monday too.
I want to drop it like it's hot, Brett. All right?
All right, then we'll do Despicable Me. We'll record it, and we'll drop it on Monday.
Bye, guys. Have a great one.
Take care.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delay Cafe team and I traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delay Cafe. A 15 milligram lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it.